Deciding to become a successful artist normally means that you want to take your art seriously enough to get paid for it and not just treat it as a hobby. This could either be as a full-time artist, a part-time artist, or perhaps you have another full-time job and you're just making art in your spare time and you want to make a bit of extra money on the side with the hope that in the future you'd have more time to devote to your creative business. I believe there's a common misconception that in order to make it as an artist, you need to have a huge social media following on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And whilst I do believe that having a big following on these platforms can improve your visibility and your art sales, personally, I don't have a massive following on any social media platforms. And over time, I'm learning that you don't have to in order to build a successful creative art business. And in this video, I'm going to talk you through 6 tried and tested ways of building a successful art business without relying on social media. Personally, I think that having a website, no matter what stage you're at in your art career, is a really good idea. I think that artists tend to not want to have a website for a few different reasons. Firstly, they may be very early on in their career, right at the start, and they don't think they've got enough content to go onto a website. Secondly, they might think that websites are too expensive and it's an unnecessary cost at that stage in their career. And thirdly, they don't think they have the technical expertise or the know-how of how to start building a website. And that's exactly why I recommend using Hostinger to build your website. I've been lucky enough to be working with them over the past few months, and I also switched my artist website from Squarespace to Hostinger fairly recently for a few different reasons. It's a really affordable platform, so if you are just starting out or perhaps you're not making that much money from your artwork but you did want to have a website, you think you can't justify it, they do have really affordable plans. I recommend choosing the business plan if you're starting a website for your art business. It offers some really great features that I've found really useful, including an AI website builder, an SEO tool, and a blog generator, which I'll discuss in more detail a bit later on in the video. It also includes an e-commerce feature, which means you can set up an online shop if you wanted to start selling your art. If you would like to sign up to Hostinger, then I'll pop my discount link in the description box below. And also, if you use my code AlexGoddard at checkout, then you get 10% off of the plan prices. The best part about Hostinger is that it's really easy to use. You don't need any technical skills or coding knowledge. It has a built-in AI website builder as well, which means that you can just type in a short prompt about the kind of website you want and it creates a site for you. If you've been waiting for the right time, in inverted commas, to set up your website, perhaps when you have more followers or a bigger portfolio of artwork, then I honestly believe that you don't need an all singing, all dancing, full-blown website straight away. Just start simple. Perhaps just have a gallery of a few pieces that you have done so people can get an idea of your style and what you create, and also have an About Me page, and then just build from there. This is actually one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion, in a step-by-step way without having the overwhelm of needing to put in loads and loads of pages from the beginning. Perhaps you've tried to get followers on social media and perhaps you had one video that did really well and you got a whole bunch of followers, but now you're starting to see your engagement slipping away again. It can feel quite disheartening and it's a constant struggle to be posting new content and keeping up with the algorithm changes. Your newsletter is a direct line to people who genuinely care about your work. If you have a website, you can incorporate an email sign-up link into this. I've done this on my Hostinger website and it's really easy to do. This means that you can start collecting email addresses as soon as you can. It can take quite a while to build up a list, so starting as soon as possible is a great idea. I've been collecting my email addresses for around a year now. My initial target was to release a newsletter monthly, but I've only done one this past year. But now I have a great list of subscribers and I'm aiming for one newsletter every month or two. I use Hostinger to collect my email addresses, and I think I'll use a newsletter provider like MailChimp to send out my newsletters. On MailChimp, you are able to send out a newsletter with 500 subscribers or less. There's many other different providers that offer this kind of deal, so it's definitely worthwhile looking into. You can use your newsletter in a variety of different ways. It entirely depends on what your kind of business model is. You could share behind the scenes peeks at your process. You could announce new artwork that you have up for sale or new shop updates. You could also tell stories about what you've been up to recently, or let people know if you've released any new art tutorials. It's entirely up to you, but it's a great way to drive sales in your art business. I've created a whole video on how you can start an artist blog, which you can watch by clicking the link above. You might think that blogging is old school, but actually it's still a really good way of making money as an artist. It can be quite lucrative if you have a big enough reach with your blog posts. Brands will sponsor posts or pay for advertisements to be put into your blog articles. It definitely takes a long time to be able to get to this point, and you have to be consistently creating new content that really provides value for your audience. A few tips for creating a blog are to develop your own unique style so that people instantly recognize it's a blog post by you, perhaps by looking at the certain color schemes that you use or fonts or the tone of voice you use. Try to include as many links as possible in your blog posts, both internally to different pages on your website, but also externally, as this can really help the reach of your blog. Do some research into blogs around your niche to get some inspiration. You could even create your entire website around a blogging theme and perhaps share painting tutorials or art making tips and tricks with your audience. Having a blog is a great idea if you're really into writing, if you enjoy it, and perhaps you're not so good at filming yourself, creating videos or tutorials or things like that. If writing is more your thing, then a blog is a really great idea. You could even have a website that is just an art blog. There's nothing to say that if you have a website you have to be selling your artwork or products from your artwork. The hosting a platform makes it really easy to start a blog. You could either incorporate this into your artist website, or you could perhaps have your whole website based around a blog format. I would highly recommend hosting your blog somewhere where you can use your own domain name rather than say on some free blog builder sites, as you will get assigned your own URL, which is much better looking. For example, if you were to have your blog on a Wix site, it would possibly say www.wix.com/AlexGoddardArt, which doesn't look as good as just having your own URL. My next tip is to optimize your website if you have one for Google. This involves using SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. You've most likely heard about it before, and you really don't have to be an expert to integrate SEO into your website. Think of it like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs so Google can find your website and show it to people who are searching for what you offer. It's all about using the right words and organising your site nicely and making sure that it loads fast, so when someone types something into Google, your site pops up near the top. As I said, you don't need to be an SEO wizard, but some basics can go a long way in helping people find you. Firstly, make sure you're using clear, descriptive titles. Meta descriptions are also really useful. They're basically descriptions about what each page of your website is about, and they're typically around 160 to 180 characters long. Just make sure your descriptions are clear, concise, and include keywords to improve your visibility. Make sure that all your images have alt text. This can be images on your own website, or perhaps you have images of your artwork elsewhere, like on Etsy, for example, or on an online gallery. Any images that you share, always make sure that you have put alt text on them. By including keywords in your alt text for your images, this helps websites improve chances of ranking for those terms, especially in image search results. Also, when it comes to using images, make sure that when you save your image files and you upload these image files to your website or to Etsy, for example, make sure that you change the file name to include relevant keywords. So for example, you don't want to be calling your image IMG64209. You want to be including keywords on what the image is about. For example, if I was trying to sell an original painting, I might title the image "Original Artwork of a Golden Retriever for Sale." The Hostinger platform has a really good AI tool. It basically searches your website and then gives you a brief summary of where you can incorporate SEO into your website, or some things that you may not be doing to their full advantage. So things like making sure your headers are the right size, or making sure your word counts are in the right kind of ballpark area. And it just makes it so easy to incorporate the best practices of SEO into your website. If you're not confident in having your own website or selling artwork through a website, then you can utilize online marketplaces to do this for you instead. Having your work on these online marketplaces is a smart move because it gives you instant access to a huge global audience without needing to build your own website from scratch. These platforms already have lots of shoppers who are looking for unique, handmade, or creative items, which is exactly what you offer. Plus, they handle a lot of things for you, like the processing of payments and also marketing. You do have the option of paying for adverts on platforms like Etsy. I do this, and I really did notice a big change in the volume of my sales when I set these adverts to be on. The great thing is you do have control over how much you're spending, so you can spend as little as just $1 a day. That's what I've set mine to, and I don't get charged $1 every single day. It's just when someone clicks on one of these adverts. It's a great way to get your work out there and start building momentum with your art sales. So it's brilliant if you're just starting out and perhaps you don't have that traffic to your website just yet. Consider having an Etsy account or maybe an account on eBay to sell your artwork just to get things going. There are so many options here. As I said, Etsy is great for handmade art, prints and digital downloads. eBay is also a great idea. It's really good for auctioning your work or selling original pieces. eBay lets you set fixed prices or run auctions, which can sometimes drive up the value of your work. It's also a really flexible platform where you can test out different pricing strategies, styles, and formats to see what really resonates with your buyers. Another great one to try is Amazon Handmade. You may not know, but Amazon has a whole section dedicated to selling smaller, handcrafted, and artisan products. And again, the great thing about selling on Amazon Handmade is that you have access to a huge audience across the globe. Plus, Amazon will handle things like secure payments and customer service, which frees you up to do what you love doing best, creating artwork. Chances are that if you are watching this video, then you have some kind of creative skills that others would love to learn. You could consider sharing these skills and becoming an online teacher. Platforms like Skillshare and Udemy make it easy to get started. They pay you based on how many minutes your videos are watched. I personally teach on Skillshare, and so far I've earned 4 figures from just a handful of classes. The great thing about going down this route is that once you've done the initial work to film your tutorials, edit them, and upload them to the platforms, from that point onwards, it's pretty much passive income. Apart from maybe some ongoing marketing that you would like to do, it's pretty much passive income from that point onwards. You can also offer tutorials as digital downloads. This lets people purchase and keep the content forever. If you're using a platform like Hostinger, they make it really easy to incorporate digital downloads into the e-commerce section of your website. I have a digital download section in my shop section on my website, which means that I am able to share my painting tutorial videos through my website. I truly believe it's possible to be a successful artist without relying on social media. If you're finding that you're investing a lot of time and effort into creating reels, posts without much success, consider directing more of your energy towards some of the ideas that I've outlined in this video. Several of them have been working really well for me, and I'm seeing much better results than when I focus too heavily on growing my social media. Of course, social media will work for some, but it's well worth considering different options. And don't forget, if you did want to try out Hostinger for yourself, then I'll leave my link in the description box below.